Welcome to another video with American Logistics Academy. In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys the secrets of dispatching. I'm going to go ahead and give you some very good knowledgeable information to make your job easier as a dispatcher. It's going to help you out in the industry of transportation. It's going to give you that next step to the transportation career for you to be able to work at the best of your ability. I'm going to show you how we can use softwares, Google and different things to make our jobs easier as a dispatcher. I'm basically going to go ahead and share with you the secrets of dispatching, which is going to basically be the difference between being a good dispatcher and then being a great dispatcher. So as you know, in the transportation area, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of freight that needs to be moved. There's a lot of things that we need to understand and know. One of the biggest things in the transportation industry where people fail is basically not knowing the secrets of dispatching, not knowing how to basically negotiate, not knowing how to find things out, how to use all these different type of softwares and tools that we're given now in this modern technology era, where we can make our careers and our job duties a lot easier week in and week out. So it's very important that we understand how to function through all these softwares and different things that are given to us for our beneficial our prospects, so we're able to be on top of everything and be able to run a dispatching business correctly, or just being a dispatcher individual. We want to make sure that we understand and know what exactly we have to do to make sure that we are up to date. Now, very important, and I'll kind of give you an example. If a computer requires Windows 10s and it has Windows 7, which computer is going to work better? The computer that has Windows 10, right? Because it's up to date, it's updated, has every type of upgrade that it's needed. Now, if you're working on a computer that's Windows 7, then you're functioning in the area of transportation is slower, right? It takes longer to load. You don't have the same tools and beneficial things that Windows 10 has to be able to benefit you and your business. So it's kind of the same thing as for us humans when we're walking into something, and especially like this as a dispatcher in the transportation business. We want to make sure that we're up to date. We want to make sure that we're Windows 10s and not Windows 7, because the reason for that, like I explained, is the more knowledge that you have in the industry of transportation, the more you know about dispatching, the better it is for you. Now, the reason for that is, as you know, transportation grows and grows and grows year in and year out. It's one of the most biggest business that there is in the transportation area. Transportation basically runs the country, right? Without transportation, you can think about it, we wouldn't have things that we consume, or 90% of the things that we have in our households material-wise. So obviously, transportation tends to grow. Now, it's important for us as dispatchers to keep up to date and to be able to understand that we have to use everything that we have in our reach to be able to get as much knowledge in the transportation industry to be able to function correctly and efficiently. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and teach you now. I'm going to teach you small little detailed things that you might not know that are going to help you in your near future as a dispatcher. I'm going to go ahead and show you how all these different type of things work and what they'll do for you and in which way you're going to benefit from them. So one of the first things that I actually want to go ahead and speak about is just having the great knowledge of the load board that you're using, right? And I'll give you an example. I'm going to go ahead and log on to this load board here. And I just want to go ahead and give you guys basically like a very quick down pat, right, on what I mean how to know your load board. It is very important that we know how to use our load board efficiently and effective. Now, the reason for that is because if, let's say, you have an automatic car and you're not used to driving manual, and then you go and get into a manual vehicle, you won't be able to shift correctly because you've never driven a stick shift car, right? You've never driven a vehicle that's manual. So it's kind of like the same thing. You have to understand that you have to adapt to a load board, or the load board adapt to you for you to be able to work and to function correctly in your respective career as a dispatcher. So what exactly does it mean to understand what your load board is? What I'm trying to get down to is basically we need to know that we need to function through our load boards as clean and as knowledgeable as possible. Now, the reason for that is because in the transportation industry, there's a lot of things that, tend to get down to a crunch time from time to time where you have to work at a fast pace. Now, it's important that we understand that when we're on these load boards that we know how to maneuver through them at very fast pace. Now, the reason for that is, let's say you start to grow a business or you're dispatching 10 trucks, 7 trucks, whatever it is. We want to be able to understand our load board to the point where we're able to look for freight as fast as we can. So, in other words, we don't want to be on a load board looking for things when we don't understand and we don't know where anything's at. We want to be able to basically work through the load board fast. So I'll show you. Yeah, just having that knowledge on your load board is crucial, and it's going to be a very huge key factor on one of the best secrets of dispatching. It's knowing the product, right? It's basically like anything else. If you don't know the product that you're selling, if you don't know the product that you're serving, it's very hard to be able to function correctly, because product knowledge is key in every industry, whether it's transportation, whether it's food, whether it's other different type of sales. You need to have that ability to know your product knowledge. So just knowing your product knowledge, just knowing this load board and knowing how to maneuver through it, it's going to be a key factor. And one of the biggest secrets in the industry is just knowing your product knowledge. So you have to understand that the load board that you use, whether it's this one, DAT, whichever load board that you go ahead and use, or you use multiple of them, we need to understand that one of the best key factors and secrets of dispatching is just knowing how to use these different load boards efficiently and effective at a very fast, timely manner. So I'll show you. I'm going to go ahead and just say that we have a truck in Charlotte, right? We have a truck in Charlotte that we need to get loaded, right? Or let's use Charleston, right? Let's use Charleston, South Carolina. The driver's willing to go 100 miles, whether it's north, south, or east or west, right? Destination, nothing, right? He's open to go wherever. We're going to do it fast. We're going to go ahead and look at things for Monday the 21st, and we have to book this truck fast, right? We're going to start going. You see here, we're going to put flatbed on here. It's a flatbed that we're looking for. So we're going to basically go ahead and function correctly. Now, it took me a matter of, 7 seconds to kind of populate what was going to be available as of now for this for the 21st, right, of January. As you can see here, we'll go down here. We'll click on this so I can populate more loads. We'll kind of look through it. We'll see what they have available. We'll go here. We'll kind of check. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what's available. After we see what's available, basically, we'll go ahead and click on a load, right? So let's go ahead and just click on this one as an example. So we're going to go ahead and click on this load. We're on here. We know where everything's at. Me individually, using this load board, I know exactly where everything's at, and it's very important. Now, it's something that a lot of us dispatchers don't understand, why we have to learn how to maneuver through these load boards efficiently and at a very fast, timely manner. The reason for that is because, as I explained, there is times where you have to really understand that in the mornings when you're booking these trucks, it kind of tends to come down to a very crunch time situation where we have to do things at a fast pace. Now, if we don't have the capability of being able to run through our load boards efficiently, then we're not going to be able to do our jobs correctly. So it's very important that we understand how to maneuver through our load boards and be able to get down to the load itself, get all the information that's needed to contact. So now I know that this is all the detailed information for the load itself. We're going to go ahead and see here it's going from Georgetown, South Carolina to Lake Passagoge, Florida. It's daily. If it needs a flatbed or a septic, it needs a tarp, 48,000 pounds. Call Elizabeth extension 5996. I'm going to go ahead and call them. They have the office number there. I know exactly what to do. I will pick up my phone and I will call them, and I will get in touch with these individuals and see if this load is available from Georgetown, South Carolina to Florida immediately. I did that in a matter of 2 minutes. I literally went from the point where I went from looking for a load to finding a load in the area where the driver will be, finding something that was very well paid. And it's very important that we understand that for most of the time, these drivers want to get things that are $2 or more. So automatically, I looked at this one here, and I said, all right, well, this one's $1,050. It's paying the rate per mile is $2.44, because that's what RPM means, $2.44 a mile. So I immediately contacted this load. Now, like I said, it's very important and very crucial that we understand how exactly to maneuver through these load boards to be able to work efficiently. Now, as I explained, as you're doing 1 truck, 2 trucks, 3 trucks, 5, 6, 10 trucks, It doesn't necessarily matter. We have to have product knowledge. We have to understand that whichever load board that we go ahead and use on our end, we have to understand that we want to make sure that we are able to basically run and maneuver through these load boards without any type of discomfort and without any type of situations where we'll get stuck. And that is very important, and it's important for you guys that are learning how to dispatch and are stepping into this new career of transportation to understand that we want to make sure that we know how to maneuver through our load board, navigate our load board, and adapt to everything that our load board has to offer, so we are able to get the most out of these load boards for us to be able to get compensated. And it's very important. Now, the second thing that I'm going to go ahead and move on to will be Google. Now, Google is going to be a very important function in the industry of transportation. And, it might seem like, oh, why do I need this? And there's a lot of reasons why you're going to need this. When you're looking for a truck or you're looking for new trucks to dispatch, Google's going to be one of the best things that's really going to help you establish a business or establish yourself as a dispatcher as you're looking for work. Now, it's very important that we understand that Google's a huge tool that we have to really assemble to and be able to understand how to use this to get the most out of it. As I explained, I'm going to teach you guys the softwares and tools that we will be using to basically be able to use them to our advantages, right? So let's say you're new into the business, you're looking for work, you're looking for trucks to dispatch. How can we find trucks? Well, Google's going to be one of the biggest solutions for you and one of the most key lead factors to finding work. We're going to go ahead and put here flatbed trucks in Florida, right? I'm just going to put Florida as an example. We can put Florida, right? As you see in here, it's going to populate a bunch of different companies, right? A bunch of different truck companies. As you can see here. It's basically going to populate a bunch of different companies, right? We can even check, we can do Georgia. Trucks. Now, how exactly are we going to use this to our advantage? As you see, once I clicked on these certain links, right? This one, Cypress Truck Lines Inc. We have what is a telephone number, an address. We even have a website for them, right? So now we can kind of study what they do, what they have, what kind of trucks they have. We can even look on here under careers to see what exactly they have available for us. If they need anything, as you can see here, they have immediate openings. You can kind of go ahead and look through all of this, see if they have anything for you. We could basically go on here and see if they have any type of opportunities for work. We can also just contact them, ask them if they need a dispatching service or a dispatching individual to basically join their business to dispatch for them. Now, imagine if you did this for every single state that is out there. You would find numerous of truck companies, thousands and thousands of truck companies that you could potentially call to look for work. You can also understand that you can look in every other different state. You don't necessarily have to look just in your state, because for the most part, in between 70 to 80% of dispatchers work from the comfort of their own home, because most of these truck companies just hire individuals to work from home as dispatchers. So it's important that we understand that Google is going to be a huge factor to us finding work, finding more companies to work with as dispatchers when we open up our dispatching firm, or just looking for a dispatching position at a truck company or with an owner-operator. We need to understand that Google is a key and huge factor to finding things. When we're confused, when we don't know what something is, we're going to go ahead and look on here. Let's say we forgot what tarps are. We'll put truck tarps, right? Let's say we forgot what tarps are. What do tarps look like? I completely forgot what tarps what tarps are. I don't remember. It's on a flatbed, so we can just look it up. These are tarps. Basically, tarps are the things that cover the loads. Google's going to be a key factor, and it's very important that we understand that we have to have Google open 24 hours a day if we're working. You have to always have Google available to you at your reach when you're dispatching, because it's basically going to be one of those key factors and tools that you're going to use, the software itself, that's going to help you not only grow your business, but grow in your mindset to understand more about the business itself and what exactly revolves around the business. Like I explained, if a broker one day tells you, hey, we need binders for this one, you don't really want to necessarily ask the broker what are binders, because then you sound like you don't know what you're doing. Or they say, hey, this one's going to need 12 pieces of dunnage. You don't know what 12 pieces of dunnage is. You can easily just Google it. Now, the reason for that is because no one wants to work with a company that doesn't understand what they're doing or know what they're doing. So maybe it's not that you don't know what you're doing, it's maybe you just haven't heard the terminology of dunnage. Dunnage is basically a divider in between freight, right? They basically use it to put to kind of divide each single different piece of freight that you're moving in these trucks. So, you can just look it up on Google and say, oh yeah, sure, I see you need 12 pieces of dunnage. Let me contact the driver. Let me make sure that they have dunnage. You could just use Google if you're not too familiar with something. So we need to understand that we're going to go ahead and use these different type of things, and Google is going to be a huge thing to you in the industry of transportation to be able to function correctly. The next thing will be Google Maps. Crucial, very important that we understand that Google Maps is going to be a key factor. Now, I'm going to explain something to you. Let's say that we're looking for a load in Charleston, and then Georgetown is in South Carolina, and we don't know exactly where this is, right? We don't know where this is. We've never heard of this place ever. You're just going to copy it. You're going to click on it. We're going to look around, and now we know it's around here. So now we know it's in the area of Florida, in between Orlando and Tampa, going up north. So now we kind of have an idea of where this place is at. Now, why do we need to know that? Because since we know that we have a truck that's going to Florida in this certain area, now we have to make sure and understand that we have to get freight for the specific truck to get them out of Florida back up north, right? And let's say we don't know where exactly this place is at. We've never heard of it. Google Maps will do the work for you. I just copy and paste it, and now I know where it's at. Now I know that for his next freight movement, I can look anywhere in between Tampa, Orlando, and Ocala, which are the three main cities around that area, to find this driver freight. A click of a button, literally, I copied and pasted. And it's very important that we understand that we have to use this. It's going to be a key factor. Or let's say that this place, let's say the driver's here, and then we have to find out how far Orlando is. We'll do to Orlando, Florida. It is going to populate. It's an hour and 2 minutes. So it's 54 miles down going east, right? So now we understand how to do that. Now it's important that Google Maps is always open, because it's very important for us to understand the different routes, the different type of highways that are on here. Let's say if a trucker tells you he wants to stay as close as he can to 95, right? Let's say he tells you, yeah, I only want to load near 95, and you're booking this load for him. We'll just go ahead and click search, and we'll kind of see the main highway close to this one is actually 75, and 95 is all the way down to the east. So just going through Google Maps, it's given us the knowledge to find out where exactly this freight movement will be moving to, and if it's close to 95. We'll explain to him that it's going, it is not actually going to 95, and one of the closest cities to 95 away from it is Daytona Beach, as you can see here. So now we can go ahead and just tell the driver, yeah, it's actually not in 95, and it's actually about 2 hours and 3 minutes from the 95 area. It's actually all the way by 75. So what I'm trying to get down to here is basically we're able to use this to our advantage to be able to do our job efficiently and effective. And that's very important and very crucial that we understand that we need to do our job very efficiently and correctly, so that way we can keep the drivers and the truck companies that we're dispatching for at ease and very comfort at working and doing what they have to do. And that way we'll be able to help the truck drivers do their job at ease as well, as they are pulling this freight and hauling this freight from point A to point B. So definitely Google Maps is going to be something that's always going to be open for you. It's just like Google. It's going to be something extremely important for you to understand that you have to use. Another thing that we're going to go ahead and walk into and talk about is the little tools that will make a big difference. So we're going to go ahead and click on notepads. Why are notepads important? I'll explain. there's a lot of the times where we tend to be on the phone and take notes down on pieces of paper, just write it down anywhere. For the most part, pieces of paper, as the week goes by, start to get crowded, and we start to basically lose paperwork. We don't know where we put things, and we could easily lose a number or any type of contact information that might be very important to us, because we have it on our desk and we have thousands of papers on there, and now we just threw everything away or it got misplaced. We lost something. Notepad's going to give you that benefit of the doubt to just be able to type on here. If someone gives you a number, let's say Carlos, let's say we're going to put here, call Carlos at 3 p.m. on 1/21/19, right? We'll just do that. Go on to the next thing. You can even make a date. A note made on 1/17/19, right? Just basically being able to stay up to date and working professionally. Now, the reason for that is because, and you'll understand as you start to dispatch and as you start working in the industry of transportation, you'll start to understand that notepads are going to be a key factor and a huge thing to you to be able to stay organized and to work efficiently and effective in the transportation industry. You could also save this. You can follow it, save as. You can literally save it onto your computer. You can do so many things for it. If you want to go ahead and save it and move on to the next note, you can basically do so many things on these notepads that are going to basically save you a lot of time. And in my perspective, I'm a very just electronic type of person. I like to do everything kind of as paperless as possible. So just using these different type of notepads, I don't have to worry about having pens or having paper or having 1,000 pieces of papers on my desk. I can just use a notepad. I can save it. I can save it as however I want. And I can basically have this information stored on my computer without any type of problem. So that's a very important key factor that you will use as you start to grow in the transportation industry, and you'll start to understand that notepad is going to be your best friend. If you do take this route to be able to take information down, it's going to be your best friend when it comes down to you contacting drivers, brokers, any type of contacts that you have. You will be using these notepads a lot when you have to take down quick information. Now, the second thing that I want to move on to will be calculators. Very important. I'm going to show you something here. Let's say that you're not using this specific load board, right? As you can see on this load board, it tells you the price and then it tells you the rate per mile. Let's make believe that we're using a completely different load board where it just tells us the rate. It doesn't tell us the rate per mile, how much the load is paying per mile that the driver is the driver is driving. Now, like I said, this one gives us the rate per mile. So it's 2,100, and as the rate per mile is $1.91 a mile. Now let's say that we're on a completely different type of load board and it doesn't give us that. We have to figure out how much this is paying per mile. And it's very important to understand that we're going to use our calculators. Now, how exactly do we use this calculator to generate the rate per mile? We're always going to divide the rate times the miles. So we always have to ask for the rate and how many miles it is from point A to point B. So as you can see here, it's 2,100, and this one is 1,100 miles. We're going to divide it by 1,100 miles. It's going to come up to $1.90. So it's roughly very close to what is estimated on here, which is $1.91. We just did this little specific function by using this specific tool here, the calculator, which is going to help us. For most of us, there's a lot of us that know how to do this, but there's a lot of individuals who are completely new to the transportation industry and don't know how they can use this to benefit themselves. This is going to be a key factor. A calculator is going to be a key factor of you negotiating your loads. Let's say you have a driver that wants to take only loads that are paying at least $2 a mile, then we can calculate this. Let's say this load is interesting, but you're about 9 cents off. We have to negotiate and see how we can get this load for $2 a mile. So let's say, how about we do 2,150 divided by 1,100, right? That's going to come up to 195, so it's still short. So we're going to do 2,250 divided by 1,100. That comes up to 204, right? So now we're going to negotiate with this driver, with the broker, and say, hey, so do you think we can go up up to 2250 for this specific freight, and we'll take this load. Now, it's going to help you generate negotiation skills using these different type of calculators, because as I explained, this is what basically is going to show you the rate per mile. As I showed you now, 2250 divided by 1,100 comes down to $2.04 a mile. So this is over the $2 mark that the driver wants to take freight for. So now you have to be able to negotiate. So if you know this is 191, this is close to $2. We are basically just trying to get over to see what price we can get up to get up to $2, and we just use this simple little tool of a calculator to be able to maneuver through that. Now, why exactly does this matter? And I'm going to explain it to you as I explained to you guys at the beginning of the video. This actually matters because when it comes down to negotiating, you want to make sure that you're getting the best price for the haul, right? For the freight that's being hauled by these trucks that you're dispatching. Now, by us using this little specific tool and learning how to use calculators to negotiate freight, we basically went up from 2100 to 2250. 2250 minus 2100, we just did $150 profit. So what does that mean? That we are doing our jobs correctly as a dispatcher. Us dispatchers have to understand that we get paid a percentage off of this freight. So let's say that we get paid 10% for every freight off the revenue of every freight. So would you rather make 2100 times 0.10, which is $210, or would you rather make 2250, right, times 0.10, which is 225? Now, yes, it's not that big of a difference, but 225 minus 210, it's $15 extra that you made just by being able to negotiate, and it took you 2 minutes to basically make an extra $15. And it's very important that we understand that calculators are going to be a key factor to us being able to negotiate and making sure that we are reaching the right price ranges, and we make sure that we're doing the right rate per miles for these truck companies to be able to take these different freights to haul them from point A to point B. So it's very important that you guys understand that we're going to use all these different type of tools, all these different type of softwares to be able, to just keep control of what we're doing and to make sure that we're doing our things correctly. As I explained, very important that we have key knowledge in the load board that we're using. It's important that we study it. It's important that we learn everything about this specific load board that we're using, or the load boards if you're using more than one. It is important that we understand the product knowledge, because product knowledge is key, and it's one of the biggest secrets to being a great dispatcher. So being the difference between a good dispatcher and a great dispatcher, we need to understand the product knowledge and just knowing what we're doing on these load boards and maneuvering and navigating through them when it's time to work at a timely, fast manner. We have to understand that we have to have product knowledge. I also explained to you guys how you guys can basically use Google basically for anything. Google is going to be a really key factor to you guys to be able to understand and do things, and things that you don't know, we will look up. Things that you're not too sure of, you will look up. When you're looking for new truck companies that you want to dispatch for, Google is going to be a lead source. So we need to be able to use all this modern technology to our advantages to be able to grow in the transportation industry. I also show you Google Maps. Huge factor. You're going to use this a lot more than what you think, and the reason for that is because you're always going to be looking at a map. As a dispatcher, you're basically in control of freight movement going across the country, in and out, week in, week out, month to month. So it's important that we understand how to use Google Maps and how to basically, look for different routes, be able to understand what maps are, what roads are, because you're going to learn it sooner or later. Notepad was another thing, like I explained. Key factor, you'll be able to take down all your notes, things here, everything electronically. You don't have to worry about papers and pens and having hundreds of pieces of papers all over your desk. This is just working efficiently and effectively, and it's one of the best and most common ways to be able to work efficient as a dispatcher. And then last but not least, the calculator, which is basically going to be your negotiation tool. Other than you negotiating, this is going to basically make sure that you're negotiating correctly at the right numbers. And you have to know how to do it. As I explained, you have to know how to calculate the difference. If you don't have something that's giving you the rate per mile, you have to understand that you have to divide the rate itself, what they're paying for the load, and divide it by the miles to get the right thing. And I'll show you. I'll use this one as an example. So that one's paying $1,000. We're going to divide it by 304 miles. So we're always going to divide the rate, right, and divide it per the miles. And we're going to equal it and it's going to be 328. This is 329. It's roughly very estimated the same. So we understand that anytime that we have to negotiate loads and we are trying to get down to a number, all we have to do is add, just add numbers onto here, divided by the miles, and then it's going to show us what the rate per mile is paying for these specific freight movements. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for choosing American Logistics Academy as your provider and showing you guys on what dispatching is and giving you guys the, just giving us the privilege of being able to walk you into your new career as a dispatcher. And I know this information that was given to you is going to be the difference between you being a good dispatcher and then a great dispatcher, and just take full knowledge and take full control of everything that you do as you're becoming a dispatcher. Take everything that you have learned on here with you, because it's really going to help you in your career as a dispatcher, and sooner or later you'll start to understand why all these things are used for and why all these things are going to make your job functions a lot easier week in and week out. Thank you again, and until the next video. Goodbye.